Before we begin with our review of the Novus 125CP, I'd like to take a moment and get everyone familiar with a feature on the multifunction T.A.G.S units that's going to allow you to get the most out of your model. When we remove the canopy and we look at the multifunction T.A.G.S unit, T.A.G.S standing for triple axis gyro stabilization, you're going to see three gain settings on the front for each of the three gyros, but you're also going to see an additional switch that says aileron, elevator, EXT, or extent. Now this adjusts the total amount of travel on the swash plate by the three digital servos in both the aileron and elevator cyclic moves. So as your skills improve and you want more response out of that swash plate and the resulting increased response out of the head, and you want to try moving into those 3D maneuvers like inverts and rolls and loops faster and more aggressively, you're going to want to turn this dial clockwise or towards the plus. This is going to increase the total amount of travel and is also going to increase the response. Without even adjusting the gain settings on the triple axis gyro stabilization, you'll see an immediate result by turning this dial clockwise. I think this feature is often overlooked in the instruction manual for the T.A.G.S unit. It doesn't clearly state what the real response is going to be as soon as you start to turn this dial. So if you get the model and your skills improve, or you're an advanced pilot and you're looking for more response immediately out of the package, you can turn this dial clockwise in small increments, do a test flight, and continue adjusting it until you get the flight control that you're looking for. Now you can make these adjustments while you're flying or while your model is powered up, so you don't have to power it down or disconnect the battery and make adjustments. You can turn this dial clockwise or counterclockwise while the battery is connected and immediately see the results. So again, just a small note to help you get the most out of your Novus 125 series helicopters. Now this feature is available not only on the CP but also the FP version, which we reviewed earlier on the Two Brothers Hobby website. Without any further hesitation, we'll continue on with the Novus 125CP review, and thanks again for watching.
Hi everybody, today we're taking a look at the Novus 125CP from Heli-Max. I'm Rob Gornick with Two Brothers Hobby.
And I'm Kurt Gornick. We've already reviewed the Novus 125FP, which is a fixed pitch version of the Novus 125 series. The CP is a full collective pitch helicopter following along the same lines of a traditional pod and boom design with a gear-driven tail. When we get into smaller helicopters, we don't often see a gear-driven tail. We see a direct drive motor-driven tail, which kind of gives you a little passive tail response and less tail authority. The nice thing about the gear-driven tails is you have that constant tail control in both directions, which makes a big difference on the handling. So let's go ahead and get familiar with what comes out of the box, and then we'll move on to the flight footage.
As we look at the helicopter directly out of the box, you can see a conventional symmetrical main rotor blades, fly bar. It's a 3-servo swash plate with a separate rotary servo that drives our gear-driven tail. Now inside of this tiny little carbon fiber boom is a torque tube or a drive shaft that actually gear drives the tail off the main gear assembly. So we have one main motor. Let's go ahead and pull the canopy off and get familiar with the insides. And right away you'll notice that you have conventional rotary servos controlling this nano size or nano to micro size helicopter. Again, 3 for the swash plate, only a single brushless motor that runs the entire assembly since the tail is gear driven. And this unit up front is a multi-function unit. It's the T.A.G.S system, T.A.G.S, which stands for triple axis gyro stabilization, much like the Novus 125 FP that we reviewed. Triple axis gyro stabilization provides a headlock gyro for your tail rotor, but it also gives you aileron and elevator gyro stabilization for your swash plate. So your swash plate servos actually have stabilization, electronic stabilization built in. One thing about a collective pitch helicopter with symmetrical main rotor blades is there's no inherent stability built in other than the rotating mass itself and maybe a little bit of weights on the end of the fly bar that slow down some of the response, cyclic response from the transmitter. You really have no built-in stability at all, mechanical stability. So the T.A.G.S system really softens that impact and slows down the response a little bit to give you an easier learning curve for a beginner on a cycle or a collective pitch helicopter. Outside of the multifunction unit, you'll see a conventional electronic speed control with a built-in BEC and a small Z-style connector that connects to the brushless motor. Other than that, it's all familiar components. If you're used to medium and large size helicopters, collective pitch helicopters, everything's just miniaturized. Within the kit, it's an RTF kit ready to fly, so everything you need's there. We have the AC wall adapter lithium polymer battery recharger for the included 600 milliamp 3.7 volt LiPo. They include a small adjustment wrench for the helicopter for the T.A.G.S system to be able to adjust the potentiometers on that system to be able to increase or decrease the amount of gain. They include a couple of gears to replace the drive shaft gears at either end, at the tail gearbox end and also back up the main gear end. That makes sure that any problems you do encounter, any tail boom strikes, I'm kind of suspecting that's the weak area on this helicopter, much like the FP. You can replace those gears and keep it in good running condition. They also include inside the bag a little tiny brass gear to be able to replace the main drive gear on the motor. The CP is going to run at much higher head speeds than the FP. So when you go into 3D maneuvers, you have that nice high head speed. So there's a probability it's going to wear out that gear a little faster. They also include a set of tail rotor blades and main rotor blades as well. Now, included with the CP is the same nice radio system we saw on the FP. This does have a throttle curve, adjustable throttle curve though, so when you go into stunt mode 1 or mode 1 from normal, from your flight mode switch, and you run up to a constant head speed with both positive and negative collective pitch on the main rotor, you can adjust that throttle curve to keep your head speed up so you can perform those maneuvers without RPM sag. Within this radio system, you have, just like it's the other on the FP, you have a backlit 2.4 gigahertz digital radio with digital trims for all 4 axes, and you also have high and low rates as well as a selectable flight mode, normal acting like a fixed pitch helicopter with very little negative pitch, mostly positive pitch, and then your flight mode 1 or idle up, which allows you to have equal positive and negative pitch on your main rotor. So let's go ahead and take it out to the field and see how it performs.
All right.